that my armor can't prevent. It's a balancing act. The DPS need to finish off the monsters before the healer runs out of mana and everybody dies. But if they do too much damage too quickly, they'll steal aggro off the tank, and what should be an orderly killing spree will become a chaotic melee. This shouldn't be an issue. Jolene and Anya both know what they're doing, and Brad bought his character from us. His samurai has been carefully spec'd out to hit the sweet spot between too much damage and too little. The problem is the hammer. When Brad hired us 2 days ago, he asked if he could have access to his samurai in advance to get in some practice before the run. Since he was paying a quarter of our fee up front, I said yes. I guess I should have paid more attention to his comment about wanting to crack skulls. During practice, he decided he didn't like the katana his samurai was packing, so he went to the in-game auction house and bought himself a new weapon, Ivar's hammer. Ivar's hammer is basically Thor's hammer without the Marvel trademark issues. Even by the high production standards of Call to Wizardry, it is a gorgeously rendered virtual object, a brutal, sexy work of art with black basilisk leather handle wraps, a dragon-tooth butt spike, and mithril filigree thunderbolts on the mallet head. You can see why an alpha male skullcracker would be drawn to it. Unfortunately, Ivar's hammer is a tanking weapon. Anything you hit with it gets really pissed off, and on critical hits, it shoots out fingers of lightning that aggro every other monster within 30 yards. Brad's samurai keeps getting mobbed, and unlike my plate armor, his scale mail can't handle that much punishment. Brad dies, and Ray resurrects him. I warn Brad that this is going to keep happening if he insists on using the hammer. Brad doesn't want to hear it. As a paying customer, he feels he should be entitled to use any weapon he likes. I remind him that I'm only a guide to the game world. I don't make the rules. Figure something out, Brad says. We do what we can. I switch from Blockhead the Warrior to Surveillance, a paladin who can call down holy fire and throw his shield like Captain America, and who is generally better at emergency crowd control. Jolene's ranger summons a special companion animal, a fire-breathing tortoise that can serve as a secondary tank. When, despite my and Jolene's best efforts, Brad dies again and again, Ray revives him, and Anya, whose druid moonlights as an armorsmith, patches the holes in his scale mail so we don't have to go back to town for repairs. Our contract with Brad guarantees him 2 full dungeon runs. Even the most difficult dungeons rarely take more than 3 or 4 hours to complete, and the Caverns of Malice, where we are now, ought to be a cakewalk. But the constant cycle of death and resurrection slows our progress to a crawl. An hour in, we've barely cleared the first boss. Brad is as frustrated as we are, and not professionally constrained from showing it. As he gets more impatient, he starts charging into battle before the rest of us are ready, with predictable results. Jolene tries to calm Brad down, at which point we discover he doesn't particularly like black chicks either. Jolene shuts up, and Anya takes over. Her attempt to soothe Brad is more successful, but the dying continues. I crank up the jib setting on my user interface, causing Brad's demises to be rendered in as gory a fashion as possible, blood and viscera exploding from his wounds. This has no practical effect on gameplay, but it makes me feel better. After another 40 minutes, we reach the second boss, the green dragon, Anastasia. We stop outside her lair so I can explain the fight to Brad. There are 3 phases, I tell him. In Phase 1, Anastasia will bite and claw. In Phase 2, she'll vomit a river of acid. In Phase 3, she'll beat her wings and conjure a storm of tornadoes. Then back to Phase 1 and repeat, until either she or all of us are dead. The rules of survival are straightforward. Don't steal aggro off the tank. Don't stand in the acid. Avoid the tornadoes. We also need to be mindful of Anastasia's eggs, which are stacked along the walls of her cavern. The eggs are sensitive to jostling, and if bumped, or struck by lightning, they'll hatch. Anastasia's brood spit acid like their mom. They also poop little patches of crazy glue that make it much harder to dodge tornadoes. Hatch more than a handful of eggs, and the fight quickly becomes unwinnable. Having laid all this out, I ask Brad if he would please, just for this one battle, switch back to his katana. No, Brad says.